In the ever-evolving landscape of global politics, new alliances are constantly emerging to challenge the established order and redefine the rules of international engagement. These coalitions often arise in response to shifting economic power, changing demographics, and the desire for a more equitable world. One of the most significant of these is BRICS, a powerful coalition that has set its sights on reshaping the world order and amplifying the voices of emerging economies on the global stage. For decades, Western powers have held sway over major international institutions like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, steering global economic policies and decisions. But the emergence of BRICS marked a turning point, as these nations began to demand a more balanced, multipolar world where influence is shared more broadly. The group, originally composed of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, brings together some of the world's largest and fastest-growing economies. United by a common goal, they seek a stronger collective voice in shaping international policies and addressing global challenges. BRICS is far more than just a symbolic partnership. It's a dynamic, working alliance that holds annual summits, launches joint initiatives, and builds consensus on critical issues like trade, security, technology, and climate change. These efforts foster cooperation and drive tangible progress. With their combined population, vast landmass, and impressive economic output, BRICS nations wield a level of influence and leverage that no single member could hope to achieve alone. Together, they represent a significant share of the world's people and resources. The creation of their own development bank, the New Development Bank, stands as a direct challenge to the Western-led financial system, offering alternative funding and support for infrastructure and development projects across the globe. As more nations express interest in joining the alliance, BRICS's influence on global affairs continues to expand, making its presence and impact increasingly difficult for the world to ignore. The alliance signals the dawn of a new era, one where power is more distributed, diverse, and representative of the world's changing realities. Ultimately, the story of BRICS is the story of a world in transition, a world where emerging powers are stepping forward to shape the future and redefine what global leadership looks like. BRICS began with 5 influential nations: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, each bringing their own unique strengths, histories, and ambitions to the table. These countries, spread across 4 continents, were united by a shared vision to reshape the global order and amplify the voices of emerging economies. Brazil contributed its vast natural resources, from the Amazon rainforest to rich mineral deposits, as well as a growing industrial base and a vibrant agricultural sector that feeds millions both at home and abroad. Russia brought to the group its immense energy reserves, oil, natural gas, and coal, along with significant geopolitical clout, a powerful military, and a long history as a major player on the world stage. India added a booming technology sector, a rapidly growing economy, and a youthful, dynamic population. Its thriving democracy and entrepreneurial spirit made it a key driver of innovation and growth within the bloc. Meanwhile, China's economic might and global ambition made it the engine of BRICS. With the world's largest population, a massive manufacturing base, and a rapidly expanding influence in global trade, China played a central role in shaping the group's direction. South Africa's inclusion in 2010 gave BRICS a crucial African presence, making it a truly global alliance. As the continent's most developed economy, South Africa brought regional leadership and access to African markets and resources. These countries united around a shared belief: the world needed a new, more equitable way of doing things. They sought to challenge the dominance of traditional Western powers and create opportunities for developing nations. Despite differences in politics, cultures, and economies, they found common ground in promoting growth, increasing trade, and pushing for reforms in global institutions like the IMF and World Bank. Together, they represented over 40% of the world's population and a significant share of global GDP, making their collaboration impossible to ignore on the world stage. Their diversity, spanning democracies and authoritarian states, exporters and manufacturers, different languages and cultures, became a source of strength, allowing them to approach global challenges from multiple perspectives. The original 5 set the stage for BRICS as a force for change in the 21st century, inspiring other nations to rethink their roles in the global economy and paving the way for future expansion. BRICS's core mission is to challenge Western dominance and create a multipolar world. They seek a seat at the main table of global governance with influence matching their economic and demographic weight. A key step was founding the new development bank, offering loans without the political strings attached by Western institutions. BRICS aims to boost trade and investment within the bloc, building an economic ecosystem less dependent on Western markets. They're pushing to use local currencies for trade, reducing vulnerability to the US dollar. The group positions itself as a champion for the global South, advocating for poverty reduction, technology access, and climate justice. By expanding membership, BRICS hopes to unite developing nations in demanding a fairer international order. Their mission is about empowerment for all, not just themselves. BRICS is building alternatives, not just opposition. Their vision, a more just, representative world system. BRICS's expansion is a strategic move to boost its global influence and legitimacy. By adding major energy producers and regional powers like Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Iran, the bloc now spans continents and commands more resources. Expansion amplifies BRICS's voice in international forums, making it harder for Western powers to ignore calls for reform. Including oil and gas giants strengthens the group's leverage in energy markets and supports the push for non-dollar trade. New members open fresh markets and investment opportunities, creating a larger, more resilient economic network. But expansion brings complexity. Integrating diverse political systems and priorities requires careful diplomacy. The challenge: maintain cohesion and consensus as the group grows. Success depends on turning diversity into real, united power. In a stunning move, 2 EU nations have joined BRICS, marking the bloc's first expansion into the Western world. This breakthrough blurs traditional geopolitical lines and signals a shift in global alignments. For these European countries, joining BRICS is a pragmatic step, seeking economic opportunity and strategic autonomy amid uncertainty. Their inclusion gives BRICS unprecedented credibility and challenges the narrative that it's merely an anti-Western club. For Russia and China, it's a strategic win, exposing cracks in Western unity. The move forces the EU to reconsider its foreign policy coherence and relationship with the US. The old divisions are fading. Nations now prioritize flexibility and opportunity over rigid alliances. One of the most ambitious and transformative goals of the BRICS alliance is de-dollarization, reducing the world's reliance on the US dollar in global trade and finance. This initiative is not just about currency, it's about shifting the balance of economic power and creating a more level playing field for emerging economies. The dominance of the dollar gives the United States significant influence over international markets and policies. For decades, most global trade has been settled in dollars, giving the US a unique ability to impose sanctions and shape global finance. BRICS countries are now actively promoting trade in their own local currencies, aiming to insulate themselves from the impact of American monetary policy and reduce their vulnerability to external shocks. To make this vision a reality, the group is developing new payment systems and establishing currency swap agreements. These efforts are designed to facilitate smoother transactions between member nations, bypassing the need for the dollar as an intermediary and strengthening financial ties within the bloc. The new development bank, headquartered in Shanghai, is at the heart of this transformation. By offering loans in local currencies and supporting infrastructure projects, the NDB is helping BRICS nations boost their economic sovereignty and reduce dependence on Western financial institutions. Some visionaries within BRICS even imagine a future where a unified BRICS currency exists, streamlining trade and investment across member states. While this remains a distant and challenging goal, discussions and proposals continue to gain momentum. However, the dollar's dominance is deeply entrenched, supported by the sheer size, stability, and global trust in the US economy. The dollar remains the world's primary reserve currency, and its influence is not easily diminished. Many BRICS members still hold substantial dollar reserves, making any rapid shift away from the dollar both risky and complex. The transition requires careful planning and gradual implementation to avoid financial instability. Nevertheless, the persistent push for de-dollarization is slowly but surely chipping away at the dollar's supremacy. The share of the dollar in global reserves is gradually declining, while BRICS currencies are gaining more recognition and use in international markets. Through these efforts, BRICS is paving the way for a more diverse, multipolar financial system, one where no single currency holds all the power and emerging economies have a stronger voice. As the world's financial landscape evolves, the future is becoming less dollar-centric, opening up new opportunities and challenges for countries around the globe. BRICS' diversity is both a strength and a source of friction. Rivalries, especially between China and India, make consensus on security and politics difficult. Members differ in their relationships with the West. China and Russia confront, while Brazil, India, and South Africa seek balance. China's economic dominance raises concerns about the bloc becoming too China-centric. Domestic economic troubles in some members can distract from collective goals. Expansion adds complexity, as integrating new members with unique interests tests group cohesion. Finding consensus in a larger group is exponentially harder. For BRICS to succeed, it must manage divisions and share benefits equitably. The alliance's future depends on building strong mechanisms for cooperation and dispute resolution. Western skepticism once dismissed BRICS as a loose coalition, but that's changing. The group's creation of the new development bank and push for de-dollarization are now taken seriously. Expansion into Europe has set off alarm bells, challenging Western unity and signaling the appeal of a multipolar world. The West faces a dilemma. Opposing BRICS could backfire, but ignoring it is no longer an option. The likely strategy is to compete for influence in the global South, while cooperating on shared challenges. BRICS isn't seen as a military threat, but as a force capable of disrupting the established global order. The West is now strategizing for a world where it's not the only major player. The era of Western dominance is being redefined. BRICS stands at a crossroads. Its potential is greater, but so are its challenges. Integrating new members, especially from the EU, will test its ability to build consensus and trust. The bloc must accelerate development of its alternative institutions, proving it can rival Western counterparts. Success depends on offering a positive, inclusive vision for global governance, not just opposition to the West. BRICS must show it can address global problems like climate change and public health for all, not just its members. Acting as a constructive leader for the global South is key to its legitimacy. The journey ahead is long, filled with opportunity and risk. Whether BRICS can truly reshape the world order remains to be seen. One thing is certain, the world is watching this rising alliance.